In the peaceful and serene neighborhood of Maplewood, a quaint, little house stood amidst a backdrop of tall, swaying trees and whispering winds. This house, with its charming facade and welcoming garden, was home to James and Sarah Thompson, a loving couple who had recently decided to bring a new member into their family, a dog from the local animal shelter. Little did they know that this decision would unravel a series of events filled with mystery, emotion, and an eerie sense of the unknown. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Their journey began on a crisp autumn afternoon when they visited the shelter. They were immediately drawn to a medium-sized, brown fur dog with soulful eyes that seemed to hold untold stories. His name was Max, and despite his friendly demeanor, there was a depth in his gaze that hinted at a past full of secrets. The shelter staff described him as a gentle and affectionate dog, but there were whispers about his previous owners and the circumstances under which he was surrendered. James and Sarah felt an instant connection with Max and decided to adopt him, hoping to give him a loving and permanent home. As they drove back, Max sat quietly in the back seat, occasionally glancing at them with those same deep, searching eyes. They had no idea that this seemingly ordinary dog would soon bring an extraordinary mystery into their lives. Upon arriving home, Max quickly adapted to his new surroundings. During the day, he was a joyful and playful companion, eagerly exploring his new home and backyard. However, as night fell, a strange and unsettling routine began to unfold. Each evening, after James and Sarah had retired to their bedroom, Max would stand silently at their door, his eyes fixated on them as they slept. At first, they thought it was a simple case of separation anxiety or perhaps a lingering habit from his previous home. But as days turned into weeks, Max's nightly vigil continued unabated. He would stand motionless for hours, watching over them with an intensity that was both comforting and disconcerting. His presence at the door became an almost spectral figure in the dark, a silent sentinel guarding against some unseen threat. James and Sarah tried various remedies to help Max settle down at night. They adjusted his diet, provided him with a plush bed, and engaged him in long play sessions during the day to tire him out. Despite their best efforts, nothing seemed to alleviate his nocturnal watchfulness. The couple grew increasingly concerned, not just for Max's well-being, but for their own peace of mind. The eerie feeling of being watched every night began to wear on them, casting a shadow over their once peaceful home. In their quest for answers, they decided to install hidden cameras to observe Max's behavior throughout the night. What they discovered on the footage was deeply unsettling. The cameras captured Max standing at the door, his gaze unwavering, his body tense as if bracing for something ominous. His eyes glowed in the dark, reflecting the light from the camera, creating an almost otherworldly aura around him. There was a sense of sadness and resolve in his posture, a silent plea that seemed to transcend words. Unable to make sense of Max's behavior, James and Sarah sought the advice of veterinarians and pet behaviorists. They conducted thorough examinations and tests, but no physical ailments or behavioral issues could explain his nightly vigil. The couple even considered paranormal explanations, wondering if Max was sensing something beyond their perception. The mystery deepened, leaving them with more questions than answers. Determined to uncover the truth, James decided to delve into Max's past. He returned to the shelter, hoping to find any clues about the dog's previous life. The staff revealed a heart-wrenching story that cast a new light on Max's behavior. His previous owners, a young couple expecting their first child, had surrendered him to the shelter in a moment of cruel betrayal. They had dropped him off while he slept, leaving him to wake up in a cold, unfamiliar place, surrounded by strangers. Max's world had been shattered in that moment. The security and love he had known were replaced by fear and confusion. The emotional trauma of waking up alone in a strange place had left deep scars, causing him to develop a distrust of people and a fear of being abandoned again. His nightly vigil was not just a habit, but a manifestation of his deepest fears, the fear of losing the home and family he had come to cherish. With his newfound understanding, James and Sarah resolved to help Max heal from his past. They decided to allow him to sleep in their bedroom, hoping that the proximity would provide him with the reassurance he needed. The first few nights were tense, with Max pacing restlessly around the room, his eyes constantly darting towards the door. But gradually he began to relax, finding solace in their presence. The once tense and vigilant dog started to sleep more soundly, his body slowly unwinding from the grip of fear that had held him for so long. As the weeks turned into months, Max's transformation was remarkable. The haunted look in his eyes faded, replaced by a sense of peace and contentment. His nightly vigils ceased and he began to trust his new family fully. The bond between Max and his new owners grew stronger, forged through patience, love, and a shared journey of healing. The couple's home was once again filled with warmth and joy, the shadow of mystery lifting as Max found his place in their lives. However, just as they began to settle into their newfound sense of normalcy, the story took an even more mysterious turn. James started to notice strange occurrences at night, Objects in the house would inexplicably move and faint, disembodied whispers echoed through the halls. Initially, he dismissed these events as figments of his imagination, but they became too frequent and too peculiar to ignore. Max's behavior also began to change in unsettling ways. He would growl and bark at unseen entities in the darkness, his eyes tracking movements that were invisible to James and Sarah. It was as if the dog was aware of something they couldn't see, something that lurked in the shadows of their home. The ministry of Max's nightly vigil took on a new, eerie significance. Was he protecting them from a hidden threat? Were the strange occurrences connected to his past, or was there something more sinister at play? Determined to uncover the truth, James set up additional cameras throughout the house, capturing footage of the strange phenomena that seemed to plague their nights. What he discovered defied explanation and sent chills down his spine. The cameras captured shadowy figures moving through the house, always appearing near Max. These figures seemed to be watching the dog, almost as if communicating with him in a silent, otherworldly language. James couldn't shake the feeling that their house held secrets that were far deeper and darker than he had ever imagined. The once comforting walls of their home now seemed to close in on him, filled with unseen eyes and whispered secrets. The revelation that their dog might be interacting with unseen entities added a new layer of complexity to the mystery. Determined to protect his family and uncover the truth, James began researching the history of their house. He discovered that it had once been owned by a man named Edward Hawthorne, a reclusive figure rumored to have dabbled in the occult. Strange occurrences had been reported in the house for years, with previous owners experiencing unexplained phenomena and leaving abruptly. The more James learned, the more he realized that their home was a nexus of supernatural activity, a place where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds seemed to blur. Their dog was not merely watching over them, he was protecting them from unseen threats that lingered in the shadows. The couple's resolve to help Max heal took on a new urgency as they faced the dual challenges of restoring his trust and unraveling the mysteries of their haunted home. So their journey was far from over. Each night brought new challenges, new revelations, and an ever-growing bond between the couple and their mysterious, watchful protector. As they delved deeper into the mysteries of their home and Max's past, they realized that the answers they sought were intertwined in ways they could never have imagined. The haunting question remained: was Max's past merely a tale of abandonment, or was there something far more sinister lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered?